In the heart of the wilderness, where the whispering trees hold secrets older than time, I found myself drawn to a cabin that promised quiet and solitude beyond the reach of everyday life. But what unfolded beneath its sagging porch and beneath a sky unblemished by city lights was beyond anything I could have imagined. Stay close, because every moment in this story counts, and the mysteries lurking here will slowly unfurl before your eyes in ways you won't see coming. And before the dark thickens too much, I want to ask you to subscribe and hit the bell icon now, because supporting this channel means more stories like this arriving right to your feed, stories that keep you on the edge, whispers in the darkness you won't want to miss. So take a moment, join this pack, and let's dive deep into the unknown. I bought the cabin for its price. Cheap and overlooked, almost as if the land was keeping its distance for a reason. Advertised as rustic. A gentle euphemism for the porch leaning under age and the chimney that stubbornly coughed smoke sideways whenever the wind turned. The locals, holding tight to their own stories, weren't shy to warn me. A county clerk's serious question about bringing salt wasn't met with the laughs I expected. Instead, her face was grave, her eyes steady and unblinking. Another mentioned the field as tired land. A phrase I wouldn't fully understand until much later. Accompanied by a vague signal with fingers I couldn't read, I shrugged it off, thinking old, supernatural, folklore, the kind whispered across generations to keep seekers wary. But I was here for one thing, the company of Jasper, my 13-year-old dog, old but surprisingly alert. He rode quietly beside me in the passenger seat, nose pressed earnestly against the glass, tail thumping weakly when wilderness smells hit his senses. That simple moment grounded me. He was my anchor in the stillness. The first weeks tasted like peace. Crisp mornings giving way to warm afternoons. Instead of sirens, the only sound was nature's own lullabies, leaves rustling, birds calling softly. I spent time fixing things around the cabin, patching windows kissed with decay, oiling angry door hinges, reading by the sputtering wood stove with Jasper snoring gently at my feet. Our daily ritual was a walk at dusk around the property's edge, his ears twitching as if hearing things hidden beyond sight. Even when the woods held its breath, I believed we'd found home. But peace shattered without warning. One evening, Jasper didn't come to the table for dinner. I found him motionless on a rug, stretched out as if in sleep, but something was off. No struggle, no obvious pain. His body cool by the time I'd retrieved a shovel the next morning. I buried him behind the cabin beneath pines, where sunlight seemed to fight harder for the forest floor. Soft dirt made the task less cruel. I wrapped him in his old blanket and laid his city-worn blue collar next to him, marking the spot with a smooth river stone inscribed by my knife's edge. Standing there, hands shoved into pockets, the wind sang through the trees like a shared breath between him and the forest. Silently, I told myself it was natural. His years made it so, but the sharp itch at the back of my mind refused the comfort. That suddenness, the ease of it felt wrong. He'd eaten, wagged his tail for birds moments before. That kind of ending wasn't fitting. Despite the gnawing doubt, I didn't speak the truth aloud. Grief roared louder than reason. I kept myself busy repairing the cabin beyond what needed fixing, clinging to motions that made the silence less absolute. But the quiet shifted. It found a new tone, one that knew my loss intimately. The sound of a heart gone just cold enough to sound hollow in an empty room. Then, unexpectedly, I heard it. A whine. First, faint and wind-like, blending with the cabin settling's natural creaks. But no, the whimper grew soft and urgent, like a dog dreaming of fear, tiny paws twitching in sleep, needing a presence. I sat straight up, listening hard into the night's thick velvet. The fire was out, coals cold, frost kissed the windows, trees pressing their forms against the glass. The whine came again, louder now, a scratching at the door echoing through the dark. Barefoot, in socked stealth, I opened the door into stillness, empty porch under a moonless sky. No footprints, no shaking branches, only silence heavy as my breath. I returned inside. Sleep finally escaped me, staring at ceiling beams as sky blushed behind curtains. I told myself it was a dream, just one of many born from a tired mind. But the next night confirmed the reality of it. Scratching, slow and deliberate, 3 soft drags across worn floorboards. Footsteps padded carefully, measured, right, left, then the faint whispers of pause. When the sound shifted to near my bedroom at 3 o'clock in the morning, urgent yet ghostly, I sat breathless, wondering if something sought a way into my world. But in all the waiting and watching, the fear hardened like a stone in my chest. Dawn found me trembling, testing the ground where Jasper lay beneath the trees, undisturbed, marked by the gently carved stone, death and earth still seated as before. The bushes surrounding the cabin, however, betrayed a different story. Bent branches and disturbed leaves, tangled as if something large had brushed past. Whether nature's whim or something else, I couldn't say. Town life beckoned, and I drove out for motion, back into the noise of fluorescent glare and the hum of strangers. At the general store, a fixture named Mrs. Cray looked at me with knowing eyes, offering cryptic warnings about thin places. Land where the veil between worlds thins and memory clings. Stories of disappearance, of hauntings marked by voices that don't belong, and a chilling admonition. Don't invite it. Her words lodged in my mind like a splinter as I left with bags of forgotten groceries and a weight pressing at my ribs, the diesel scent thick and biting. That night, the whining and scratching came back with intent, closer now, inside walls that seemed to breathe and listen. The porch groaned beneath unseen footsteps, then a sudden slam shook the cabin. Doors jolted, pictures trembled, and the porch light flickered erratically, stubborn against the darkness. Each night, shadows shifted. In the mirror's reflection, a tall figure watched, narrow and still, an empty silhouette merged with the tempest outside. The bedroom lamp vanished like a whispered secret. The house grew colder, as if the storm had invaded from the inside out. I quit sleeping upstairs, retreating to the couch where the light fought the building night. Morning revealed claw marks, wrought deep into wood, 5 parallel lines curving toward the porch door, eerie and wrong in spacing and magnitude, longer than any canine track I knew. Marks that lead nowhere but spoke volumes about what prowled among us, proof and terror intertwined. Whining whispered again near Jasper's grave. I stayed indoors clutching a rifle like a fragile talisman, the blanket a desperate shield. Days later, a storm lashed the cabin. Rain slammed like fists on the roof, while thunder fractured silence in savage bursts. Smoke belched thick and choking from the chimney where no fire glowed. And then, doors exploded inward with splintering force. A creature dragged itself inside, limbs bent grotesquely backward, like a nightmare made flesh, skin stretched and folded under rotten cloth. Claws tapped the floor in chaotic steps, measured and precise. It hunted something unseen. I froze, heart hammering a primal beat beneath skin thin as paper. Crouched behind the couch, breathing shallow, I gripped an iron poker, ready for what should never exist. Claws traced nearer beneath me, a hand with sharp splintered nails pressed on the cushions. Startled, I glimpsed a face so hollow. Lips gone, teeth jagged, eyes hollow wells of decay. It smelled of earth turned and death dug up too soon. Smoke thickened, lungs clenched, and I threw myself back, striking wildly as the creature hissed in reptilian fury. Scrambling for the exit, chaos erupted behind me, a growl deep and guttural, teeth meeting flesh, sharp barks split the storm's roar, shadows tangled, forms collided. In a brief flicker of lightning, I saw it. A dog, malformed yet majestic, a guardian beyond life. Its fur swirling with twilight hues, eyes glowing with ember calmness. It crushed the abomination's throat, driving it backward until it dissolved into the mist. The rain softened to a whisper, and as the guardian beast turned, it bore the unmistakable shape of Jasper. Old wounds seen in its twisted strength, recognition in its softened gaze. Then, just as dawn touched the edges of night, it vanished like smoke lifting from frozen fields. The cabin lay shattered, but the storm passed. The door never aligned properly thereafter, forever hanging ajar, as though inviting that fragile boundary between world and shadow to sway. Since then, the storm grew quiet, and the threat never crossed the threshold again. Yet some nights, when silence grows thick and the wind holds its breath, the porch creaks with unseen footfalls, pacing, waiting. I no longer fear these sounds. Instead, I whisper, "Good boy." A bond beyond death, paw prints, too large and ancient, circle the cabin when snowfall shrouds the land. A bowl near the hearth shifts in the dark. Nails tap knowingly on hardwood, and always that word escapes me first in the haze of half-wakefulness. Good boy. Jasper, protector beyond the veil, watching from his restless grave beneath pine and shadow. I keep his resting place clean, bare as he liked it, with stone, grisaille, and the endless wind from the ridge. Nothing more, no flowers, no scent, just presence. This is not the end, but a beginning. The guardian remains, the cabin breathes, and so do I. Stay safe, and remember, some spirits never leave. They wait, they watch, and they protect.